Every morning you wake up and name the day. Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. But have you ever stopped to wonder why? Those aren't just words. They're the names of gods. Ancient gods who once commanded empires, inspired wars, and shaped the very fabric of human civilization. When you visit a doctor, you see a symbol, a staff with two serpents coiled around it. That's Hermes's staff. When you say you're having a titanic struggle, you're invoking beings who predated the Olympian gods themselves. When you describe someone as narcissistic, you're speaking the name of a beautiful youth cursed by the gods. The ancient gods never died. They simply changed their form. They live in our language, in our symbols, in our days and months, in our psychology, and even in the brands we buy. They've woven themselves so deeply into the fabric of modern life that we invoke them dozens of times every day without even realizing it. For the next 30 minutes, we're going on a journey through time. We'll uncover how Zeus still thunders through our speech, how Venus still influences how we talk about love, how Norse gods carved their names into our weekly calendar, and how Egyptian deities still watch over our monuments and money. This isn't ancient history. This is your history. The story of how the old gods still rule us today.
Let's start with something you interact with every single day, the days of the week. You probably think they're just days, random names assigned arbitrarily by some ancient committee. But every single day of your week is a god, or at least a celestial body that ancient peoples worshipped as divine. Monday, Moon Day. Across virtually every culture, the moon was personified and worshipped. The Romans called it Dies Lunae, Day of Luna, their moon goddess. The Anglo-Saxons called it Monandeg, the moon's day. Even in languages across the world, this pattern holds. In Spanish, it's lunes. In French, lundi, all pointing back to that silver orb in the sky that governed the tides, marked the months, and regulated women's cycles. Tuesday comes from Tiu, or Tyr, the Norse god of war and justice. The Romans called this day Dies Martes, Day of Mars, their own god of war. So whether you're speaking English, Spanish, or French, Tuesday is War God Day. Think about that the next time your Tuesday feels particularly aggressive. Wednesday, Woden's Day, Odin's Day, the All-Father of Norse mythology, the god who sacrificed his eye for wisdom, who hung himself on the world tree for 9 days to learn the secrets of the runes. The Romans dedicated this day to Mercury, the swift messenger god, and Odin shared many of Mercury's attributes. Both were psychopomps, guides of souls, patrons of travelers and merchants, masters of magic and secret knowledge. Thursday, Thor's Day. The Thunderer himself, the mighty god with his hammer Mjolnir, protector of humanity, slayer of giants. The Romans called it Dies Jovis, Day of Jove, Jupiter, their king of gods. Both Thor and Jupiter were sky fathers, thunder gods, the mightiest warriors in their respective pantheons. Friday belongs to Freya, the Norse goddess of love, beauty, fertility, and war. Yes, war. She wasn't some gentle Venus figure. She was a fierce goddess who claimed half of the battle slain for her hall. The Romans called it Dies Veneris, Day of Venus. Both goddesses embodied the duality of love and conflict, beauty and power. Saturday. This one breaks the Norse pattern. It's Saturn's Day, named after the Roman god of agriculture, time, and dissolution. Saturn was ancient even to the Romans, a titan who ruled during the Golden Age, a time of perfect abundance and equality. His festival, Saturnalia, was a week of revelry where social norms were inverted, masters served slaves, and chaos reigned. Sound familiar? We still carry that spirit every Saturday night. And Sunday. The Romans called it Dies Solis, Day of the Sun. The sun was worshipped as a god by virtually every ancient civilization. Ra in Egypt, Helios in Greece, Sol Invictus in late Rome, Sunna in Norse mythology. The sun, giver of light, warmth, and life itself. So every week you cycle through the cosmos and the gods. You live in a calendar created by people who saw divinity in everything. The gods are still there, holding up the structure of your time.
But the gods don't just own our days, they own our words. Our language is a graveyard, or perhaps a garden of divine names, each one a seed planted thousands of years ago that's grown into the everyday speech we use without a second thought. Take the word cereal. Every morning, millions of people eat cereal. But that word comes from Ceres, the Roman goddess of agriculture and grain. When you pour your Cheerios, you're invoking an ancient goddess who was once honored with elaborate rituals to ensure the harvest. Panic, that sudden, overwhelming fear. That's Pan, the Greek god of the wild, of shepherds and flocks. Pan was half goat, played pipes, and had a terrifying scream that could strike irrational fear into the hearts of anyone who heard it. That divine terror is why we call it panic. When something is titanic, it's massive, powerful, overwhelming. The Titans were the generation of gods before the Olympians, primordial, enormous, embodying the raw forces of nature itself. Oceanus was the Titan of the ocean. Hyperion was the Titan of light. When they clashed with Zeus and the younger gods, the very earth shook. That scale of power lives on in the word. Herculean effort. Hercules, or Heracles in Greek, was the strongman demigod who completed 12 impossible labors, slaying the Nemean lion, cleaning the Augean stables, capturing Cerberus from the underworld.
When we describe a task as Herculean, we're comparing it to the struggles of a man who wrestled death itself. Narcissism. In Greek mythology, Narcissus was a beautiful young man who rejected all lovers, including the nymph Echo. As punishment, Nemesis made him fall in love with his own reflection. He stared at himself in a pool until he died and was transformed into a flower. Every time you call someone narcissistic, you're retelling that ancient cautionary tale. Echo itself. The nymph Echo was cursed by Hera to only repeat the last word spoken to her, because Echo had distracted Hera with chatter while Zeus cheated on her. So the acoustic phenomenon, sound bouncing back to us, carries the name of a divine punishment. When you call someone a mentor, you're invoking Mentor, the trusted advisor to Odysseus's son Telemachus. Athena, goddess of wisdom, actually disguised herself as mentor to guide the young man. So every mentor carries a hint of divine wisdom. Jovial people are happy, cheerful, generous. The word comes from Jove, Jupiter, whose astrological influence was believed to make people good-natured. Mercurial means quick-changing, unpredictable, like Mercury, the swift messenger god. Venereal relates to Venus, goddess of love, though the diseases named after her are decidedly less romantic. Martial arts, martial law, that's Mars. Lunacy and lunatic come from Luna, the moon, because ancient people believed the moon's phases could drive people mad. Chronology comes from Chronos, the personification of time. The gods didn't disappear, they dissolved into our vocabulary. Every time you speak, you resurrect them.
In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, two men changed how we understand the human mind forever. Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, and both of them turned to the gods. Freud gave us the Oedipus complex. In Greek mythology, Oedipus was a man doomed by prophecy to kill his father and marry his mother. Despite everyone's efforts to prevent this, it happened exactly as foretold. Freud saw in this ancient story a universal psychological pattern, the unconscious desire of a child for the opposite-sex parent and rivalry with the same-sex parent. Whether or not you accept Freud's theories, the term entered our psychological lexicon. The ancient myth became a diagnostic tool, a way of describing human development. The gods of Thebes were repurposed to explain childhood. Carl Jung went even deeper. He proposed that the gods weren't just metaphors, they were archetypes, universal patterns that exist in the collective unconscious of all humanity. The hero, the great mother, the wise old man, the trickster. These weren't inventions, they were discoveries. Patterns that repeat across cultures and throughout time because they're hardwired into the human psyche. Zeus wasn't just a king of gods. He was the archetype of the sky father, the ultimate authority, the patriarch. Hera was the archetype of the jealous wife, the guardian of marriage, the queen who demands loyalty. Athena represented wisdom and strategic warfare. Apollo embodied reason, order, music, and healing. Dionysus was chaos, ecstasy, wine, and the dissolution of boundaries. Jung argued that these gods still live inside us. When we feel a surge of unreasonable anger, that's the Mars archetype. When we fall suddenly, irrationally in love, that's Aphrodite or Cupid working through us. When we feel called to wander, to journey, to seek the horizon, that's the Hermes archetype stirring. Modern psychology still uses mythological language. The Electra complex, mirroring Oedipus, narcissistic personality disorder. Adonis complex, for men obsessed with physical perfection, named after the beautiful youth loved by Aphrodite. Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist, took this further. He analyzed myths from around the world and found the same patterns repeating: the hero's journey, the call to adventure, the descent into the underworld, and the return with the elixir. These weren't coincidences. They were the deep structures of human experience. Star Wars, The Matrix, Harry Potter, The Lord of the Rings, all of them follow the ancient patterns. Luke Skywalker is Perseus. Neo is the prophesied one. Harry is the chosen child who must die and be reborn. Frodo is the reluctant hero who carries a terrible burden into the darkness. The gods and heroes give us a map of the human soul. They show us the forces that move within us: love, rage, ambition, jealousy, wisdom, madness. We are still living out their stories, still possessed by their archetypes, still dancing to their ancient rhythms. Walk through Washington, D.C., or any major Western capital, and you'll find yourself surrounded by gods. They're not called gods anymore. They're called symbols, ideals, allegories, but their faces are the same. The Statue of Liberty. She's one of the most recognizable symbols in the world, representing freedom and democracy. But look closer. She's wearing a Roman toga and a spiked crown. She holds a torch aloft. She is Libertas, the Roman goddess of freedom. The statue's full name is Liberty Enlightening the World, a divine figure bringing illumination to humanity. The Romans worshipped Libertas with a temple on Aventine Hill. She represented freedom from tyranny, the right of citizens to self-governance. When French sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi designed the statue, he was consciously evoking this ancient goddess. America didn't just build a statue, it installed a deity in its harbor. The U.S. Capitol building. Atop its dome stands the Statue of Freedom, a 19-foot bronze woman wearing a helmet with an eagle's head and stars. She carries a shield with 13 stripes and a sword. She is a warrior goddess, a blend of Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, and Columbia, the personified female symbol of America itself. Columbia is even more interesting. She was the poetic name for America in the 18th and 19th centuries, a feminized version of Christopher Columbus.
but her imagery was deliberately modeled on classical goddesses. You'll see her everywhere, on old dollar coins, in paintings, in patriotic songs. Hail Columbia was once a national anthem. She represents the divine spirit of the nation. Inside the Capitol building, in the eye of the dome, there's a fresco called The Apotheosis of Washington. It shows George Washington ascending to heaven, seated among the gods and goddesses. Mercury is there, offering him a bag of gold. Vulcan is forging weapons. Ceres sits on a reaper. Neptune rises from the sea. The message is clear. America's founding father has become a god, joining the classical pantheon. This wasn't unusual. The Romans did exactly this. They deified their emperors. Julius Caesar was declared a god after his death. Augustus built temples to himself. The line between great leader and deity was always blurry in the ancient world. America's founders, steeped in classical education, borrowed that imagery. The Lincoln Memorial. Lincoln sits like Zeus on his throne, massive and imposing, gazing out over the reflecting pool. The memorial is designed like a Greek temple with Doric columns. Lincoln is the American Zeus, the father figure who preserved the Union, the giver of freedom to the enslaved, enthroned forever in marble. Go to any courthouse, any bank, any government building before 1950, and you'll see classical columns, pediments, friezes depicting allegorical figures. Justice is shown as a blindfolded woman with scales. She is Justitia, the Roman goddess of justice, and before that, Themis, the Greek goddess of divine law. The caduceus, that staff with two snakes wrapped around it, appears on medical buildings everywhere. It's the staff of Hermes, messenger of the gods and guide of souls. There's actually a debate about this. The correct symbol of medicine should be the rod of Asclepius, the Greek god of healing, which has only one snake and no wings. But the caduceus is so widespread now that the mistake has become the standard. Even corporate logos invoke the gods. The Nike swoosh is named after Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. FTD florists use Hermes winged sandals. Maserati's trident logo is Neptune's weapon. Goodyear's logo features Hermes' winged foot. Versace's Medusa head, Starbucks siren. Everywhere you look, ancient divine imagery sells products and shapes identity. The gods weren't abandoned, they were repurposed. They became the symbols of nations, the guardians of institutions, the faces of justice, freedom, and power. They stand watch over our cities, carved in stone, cast in bronze, woven into our collective identity.
You already know the days of the week belong to the gods, but so do the months. The calendar you follow is a map of the divine and a monument to power. January, named for Janus, the two-faced god of beginnings and endings. He looks both ways, past and future, as you cross his threshold into a new year. February, born from Februa, the ancient rites of purification, a time to cleanse, to renew before spring's return. March, the month of Mars, god of war and of the fields. When the earth awakens, soldiers march and farmers sow.
April. Some say it comes from Aphrodite, goddess of love, others from the Latin aperire, to open. The world blossoms, the earth breathes again. May, named for Maya, goddess of growth and life. Her name is whispered in every green leaf and flower. June, for Juno, queen of the gods, guardian of marriage and birth. Even now, every June bride walks beneath her blessing. Then came the emperors. July, once Quintilis, renamed for Julius Caesar, the man who reshaped time itself. He carved his legacy into the calendar. August, once Sextilis, claimed by Augustus, the first emperor who turned Rome into an empire and himself into a god. September, October, November, December, the old numbered months left untouched. No ruler dared to steal their names. Your year is a procession of gods and god-kings: Janus, Februus, Mars, Venus, Maia, Juno, Julius, Augustus. Each month a relic of divinity, each moment a step through sacred time.
Look up at the night sky. Every planet you see is a god. When we discovered those wandering lights in the heavens, we named them after the most powerful beings we could imagine. Mercury, closest to the sun, swift and elusive, named after the messenger god, the fastest of all the deities. Mercury zips around the sun in just 88 days. Its speed matched the god perfectly. Venus, the brilliant morning and evening star, the most beautiful light in the sky after the sun and moon. Of course it had to be Venus, goddess of love and beauty. For thousands of years, humans have looked at that planet and seen feminine, divine radiance. Mars, the red planet, the color of blood. Mars, god of war. No other name was possible. When you see that reddish point of light in the sky, you're looking at the war god's celestial home. Jupiter, the largest planet, king of the solar system, named after Jupiter, Jove, Zeus, the king of the gods. The planet's massive size, its swirling storms, its dozens of moons, all befitting the ruler of Olympus. Saturn, slower, more distant, ringed with mystery. Saturn, the god of time and agriculture, the Titan who ruled before Jupiter overthrew him. Even in the sky, the generational conflict plays out, the father planet beyond the sun planet. Uranus, discovered in 1781, named after the primordial god of the sky, father of Saturn, grandfather of Jupiter. The older we go, the further out we go, receding into deeper time and space. Neptune, the blue planet, discovered in 1846, named after the god of the sea. Its color is the color of deep ocean water.
Poseidon's realm expanded to include the frozen outer reaches of the solar system. And Pluto, now reclassified as a dwarf planet, but still carrying the name of the god of the underworld, the ruler of the dead, dwelling in the darkest, coldest, most remote edge of the sun's domain. When we sent spacecraft to explore these worlds, we continued the pattern. The Voyager missions, the Galileo probe, the Cassini spacecraft, all named after scientists, yes, but each one an explorer venturing into divine territory. We sent the Juno spacecraft to Jupiter, the wife going to check on her husband. Our rockets and shuttles had names like Apollo, Atlas, Titan, Mercury. The program that landed humans on the moon was named Apollo, after the god of light, music, and prophecy. When Neil Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface, he did so under the banner of an Olympian god. Even beyond our solar system, when we discover new moons, new features, new phenomena, we reach back to mythology. The moons of Uranus are named after Shakespearean characters and Alexander Pope's creations, but they're literary gods in their own right. Jupiter's moons are named after Zeus's lovers, Io, Europa, Ganymede, Callisto, a celestial soap opera of divine infidelity. The constellations themselves are gods and heroes frozen in the stars. Orion the hunter, chasing the Pleiades, fighting Taurus the bull. Andromeda chained to a rock, rescued by Perseus. Hercules performing his labors for eternity. The zodiac, 12 constellations marking the sun's path through the year, most of them drawn from ancient mythology. When we look at the cosmos through telescopes, when we chart the movements of planets, when we calculate orbits and trajectories, we're still using the names the ancients gave to the divine lights in the sky. The universe speaks in the language of the gods. The gods never died. They just got new names and new costumes. Modern storytelling is a direct continuation of ancient mythology, sometimes obviously, often secretly. Superhero comics are the most obvious example. Superman is Apollo, the radiant, virtuous, all-powerful protector from the sky. His weakness, kryptonite, is like Achilles' heel, a single vulnerability in an otherwise invincible being. He even has a fortress of solitude, much like the gods had Mount Olympus. Batman is Hades, the dark god who rules the underworld, in this case, Gotham's criminal underground. He operates in shadows, inspires fear, and is motivated by death, specifically his parents' murder. Like Hades with Persephone, Batman has complicated relationships with those he draws into his world. Wonder Woman doesn't hide her mythological roots at all. She is literally from Greek mythology, an Amazon warrior princess, daughter of Zeus in some versions, empowered by the gods. Her lasso of truth comes from Hestia. Her bracelets deflect harm. She flies an invisible plane. She is Athena and Artemis blended into one, the warrior goddess walking among mortals. Thor in Marvel Comics is directly the Norse god, but adapted for modern audiences. The films and comics take Asgard, Odin, Loki, and the entire Norse pantheon and reframe them as advanced aliens rather than gods. But the stories are the same: family conflict, cosmic battles, trickster brothers, doomed prophecies. Ragnarok still comes. The myths still play out. The X-Men are interesting because they represent the fear of the different, the persecution of the gifted. In ancient times, these would be demigods, people touched by divine power, feared and worshipped simultaneously. Magneto is like Prometheus, someone who sees humanity as beneath him and wants to reshape the world according to his vision. Look at Star Wars. Luke Skywalker is the classic hero's journey that Joseph Campbell identified in every mythology. A farm boy called to adventure, mentored by a wise old man, as Obi-Wan, as Merlin, as Gandalf, as the Chiron centaur. He descends into darkness as the Death Star, as the underworld, faces his shadow self, as Vader, as the Dark Father, and emerges transformed. Yoda is the wise old hermit archetype. Leia is the warrior princess. Han Solo is the trickster rogue. The Force itself is a repackaging of divine power. It surrounds us, penetrates us, binds the galaxy together. That's how ancient peoples described the divine, the pneuma, the spirit that animates all things. Jedi and Sith are priests and sorcerers wielding that power. Harry Potter follows the same pattern. The prophesized child, marked by the villain, who must die and be reborn to save his world. He descends into the forbidden forest, like Christ to Gethsemane, like Persephone to the underworld, like Orpheus descending for Eurydice. He willingly goes to his death and returns to life. The Deathly Hallows are sacred objects, like the Spear of Destiny, the Holy Grail, Thor's hammer. The Lord of the Rings is explicitly mythological. Tolkien was a scholar of ancient languages and myths, and he created Middle-earth as a mythology for England. The Valar are gods. The Maiar are lesser gods and angels. Gandalf is Odin, the wandering wizard with a staff and a hat. Sauron is Satan, the fallen angel seeking dominion. The One Ring is cursed gold, like the Rhine gold, like the treasure guarded by Fafnir the dragon. Even modern horror taps into ancient divine terror. Lovecraft's Cthulhu and the Old Ones are prehistoric gods, sleeping beneath the ocean and in distant stars, waiting to return and reclaim the earth. They're chaos gods, entities so alien and powerful that to perceive them drives humans mad. That's the same terror ancient peoples felt before the wild gods. Pan causing panic, Dionysus driving his followers to madness, Shiva the destroyer dancing on the corpse of the universe. We keep telling the same stories because these stories are how humans make sense of existence. The hero, the monster, the wise guide, the dark lord, the dying and rising god, the trickster, the great mother, the shadow self. These are the patterns embedded in our psyche. We dress them in capes and lightsabers, but they're still gods and heroes.
So why? Why do the gods persist? Why do they keep returning age after age in new forms? Because they were never just stories. They were frameworks for understanding reality. The Greeks didn't invent gods. They codified patterns they saw in nature and in themselves. Zeus's thunderbolt was the lightning strike, yes, but also the sudden strike of authority, of power, of judgment. Aphrodite's golden apple of discord was desire, causing chaos. Dionysus's wine was the dissolution of the ego, the loosening of social bonds, ecstasy, and madness. The gods are the forces that move through life: love, rage, wisdom, chaos, death, rebirth, justice, vengeance. These forces don't go away when we stop believing in anthropomorphic deities. They continue operating. We just call them by different names: psychology, sociology, natural phenomena, hormones, instincts. But there's something about personifying these forces that makes them comprehensible. When you say, "I was possessed by anger," you're using the old language. Anger isn't just a neurochemical response. It's an invading force, something that takes you over. The Greeks would say, "Ares entered you." We use less colorful language, but the experience is the same. Carl Jung's archetypes suggest these patterns are hardwired into us. We don't create the hero's journey. We discover it again and again because it maps onto something real in human development. We don't invent the Great Mother archetype. We experience it in our actual mothers, in the earth, in the overwhelming power of creation and nurture. Joseph Campbell spent his life studying myths and found the same stories everywhere. Not because cultures copied each other, but because humans everywhere face the same challenges: birth, death, love, loss, the search for meaning, the confrontation with the unknown. The gods are our ancestors' answers to these eternal questions, and that's why they won't die. As long as we experience love, we'll need Aphrodite or Venus or some symbol of that overwhelming force. As long as we go to war, Mars will be with us. As long as we seek wisdom, Athena will appear. As long as we fear death, Hades will wait at the threshold. The gods are us, our hopes, our terrors, our virtues, our sins, given form and name and story. They're the mirror we hold up to ourselves, the lens through which we interpret the chaos of existence. When you say Wednesday, you're honoring Odin. When you visit a doctor, you invoke Asclepius and Hermes.
When you celebrate January 1st, you pass through Janus's doorway. When you look at the night sky, you see Zeus and Aphrodite and Mars gazing back. The old gods never left. They just learned to whisper instead of shout. They slipped into our language, our symbols, our calendar, our minds. They became invisible, ubiquitous, essential.
So the next time someone tells you that ancient mythology is dead history, irrelevant to modern life, you'll know better. The gods are all around you, woven into the fabric of daily existence. You speak their names, live by their calendar, invoke their symbols, and retell their stories. The ancient gods don't rule from mountaintops anymore. They rule from inside you, from the words you speak, from the days you count, from the stories you love. They never died. They just became invisible. And that might be their greatest trick of all. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time. If you found this fascinating, subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden forces shaping our world. The gods are watching, and they'll be here, waiting in next week's video.